Hi, my name is Steven, this is Business Progression, and today we are talking about outsourcing. Time for the best part, the legal disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes. Now that we got that out of the way, what is outsourcing? Outsourcing is when a business pays another business to take over or perform a process for it. So what does this look like? Maybe this would be best looked at through an example. Let's say you own a company that is great at designing products. You can nail the engineering, look, etc. of what this amazing product should be. Unfortunately, you don't know a lot about manufacturing, and you can't afford the vast expenses included in running a factory. So what do? You outsource the manufacturing to a manufacturing company. You pay them a certain amount and they produce these awesome products for you. You have outsourced your manufacturing. As your company grows, you run into some trouble with the government. You have unintentionally been paying too few taxes. Determined to not let this happen again, you hire an accounting firm to keep track of your finances and the related taxes. You have now outsourced another function of your company. Let's say you go a few years and realize that hours of your employees' precious design work time is being caught up in answering basic customer service questions. As a matter of fact, you have hired several full-time employees whose sole job is just answering these questions. While you could hire even more employees, you may feel you aren't in the business of customer service. You are in the business of designing products. So you decide to outsource this to a company that specializes in customer service. You reassign the full-time customer service employees to a different department, and you are back solely in design work. So this is what outsourcing could look like. Equally important is to recognize what it does not look like. Back to our example. Throughout the years as you build your product design company, you have to buy dozens of computers, supplies for your lunchroom, and even pay for a new building. Did you outsource in order to get these things? Not really. Outsourcing refers to a specific business process being given to another company. Just paying a company for something, even repeatedly, is not necessarily considered outsourcing. It is considered contract work or purchasing. As I previously mentioned, outsourcing is when a business pays another business to take over or perform a process for them. Now that you know what outsourcing is, let's focus on its advantages and disadvantages. A main driver of outsourcing is saving money. If you can find a company that can perform something better and cheaper, or sometimes just cheaper, you may outsource in order to increase your profitability. Outsourcing can also reduce the complexity within your business. You can get companies to perform functions for you that they can do better, and you can focus on what you do best instead of trying to understand various processes and functions you don't know much about. Outsourcing can also help jumpstart growth for your company. With outsourcing, you can grow much faster than you could without. As mentioned earlier, through outsourcing, you can gain access to manufacturing capacity your business may not be able to afford for decades. It can also help you gain access to expertise of those outside your company. You may not be able to afford or find certain talent internally, but outsourcing allows you to still benefit from this expertise. One last benefit of outsourcing I will mention is that it can lower risk. If another company owns all of the expensive assets you are paying to use, you can simply stop producing with them if sales are down. Meanwhile, they are still stuck with the costs of their machines, land, buildings, etc. That said, outsourcing can also increase the risks for your company. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. One disadvantage is in communication. When something is outsourced, there immediately are barriers to communication. Imagine you outsource something to a country halfway around the world. The same words may mean different things, assuming you are both fluent in the same language. Additionally, they live half the world away. You both may be working in completely different time zones, which can make it difficult to communicate. Another disadvantage is related to legal concerns. When you outsource work, you are then entrusting another company with your data and potentially your intellectual property. What if they have a data breach? What if they sell your precious secret sauce to your success? These both can constitute serious risks for a company. A third disadvantage is the loss of self-sufficiency. When you outsource, you are putting your company's success partially in the hands of another. This is risky. You no longer have the ability or knowledge to run all of your operations without this company. What if there's a dispute or political tensions? You can find yourself hamstrung by the company that is supposed to be simplifying your life. Along with this idea is that you have less control when you outsource. You lose some of your ability to control quality and ensure everything is being done the way you want it. Yet perhaps one of the most mainstream disadvantages of outsourcing is the public and internal backlash. Employees obviously don't like hearing that they may lose their jobs. Even if employees don't lose their jobs, it can hurt their sense of safety, which will in turn hurt their performance. This, of course, can specifically be a problem when you're outsourcing a function that your company has done in the past. Additionally, the public doesn't always like hearing about outsourcing, especially if that involves jobs moving overseas or out of their area. There are also other miscellaneous costs you may forget to calculate when figuring out if you should outsource. Some of these costs include the time and cost required by employees to travel, govern the relationship with the other company, etc. It is important to be aware of these costs when deciding to outsource. Now, it is hard to continue here without acknowledging there are certainly ethical concerns with outsourcing. There are stories of environmental destruction, sweatshops, underpaid workers, exploitation, etc., all brought about by outsourcing. There are also stories of benefits of regionally high wages, increased economic output, improved quality of life, etc. I think it is fair to say it is a complicated subject. I think we can all also agree there is a right and a wrong way to do outsourcing. There are certain things that should not be done. So if you are a company, do you decide to outsource, and if so, what function and where to? In essence, this is a make or buy decision. A company is deciding whether specific processes would be best done internally or sourced externally. Some questions that might be asked are, can the company do it more efficiently internally? Is it part of their core competency, or is it more of a fringe task? What benefits could come by keeping things internal? What benefits could be gained by moving them external? What risks are involved? All this said, it is important to reiterate that outsourcing should not touch what your company is best at. If your company is best at design work, probably don't outsource the design work, as that is what makes you special. But I guess that is up to you. Now to wrap it all up, what is outsourcing? Outsourcing is when a business pays another business to take over or perform a process for it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day.